Hello everyone and welcome to a very special bonus episode of Indieventure. This episode we're going to be chatting about PlayStation indie games. So I've got someone who is an expert on the subject, because on the normal podcast we're quite PC focused, so this should be a very interesting episode. So who better to chat to than the current games editor of GamesRadar, previous editor of Play Magazine, the deathhead of PlayStation Magazine, not to mention all the freelance work they've done for so many outlets and their time in PR and marketing at PQ. He's also a fantastic boss and a bestie of mine. Please welcome to the podcast, Oscar Taylor Kent. Woo!
Oh, thank you very much. I'd forgotten that I did PR until you'd mentioned it.
Yes. I was like, I'll chuck it in.
It's a daily occurrence.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about how long ago that was.
So this episode, we're going to be chatting a lot about just basically PlayStation's relationship with indie games and our favourite indies on PlayStation and all that. But before we dive into the wonderful world of Sony, Oscar, what indies have you been playing this year? And do you have a favourite or two you'd like to chat about?
Oh, gosh. What haven't I played?
Oh, it's that situation, is it?
No, it's quite a lot that I've not played, because whenever I do listen to the Indieventure, I'm always like, oh, I should play that. And then I buy it and download it, and then I don't get time to play it.
Yes, Oscar listens to Indieventure. Thank you, by the way.
Of course.
You are, from the very beginning, you were such a nice supporter.
Day one.
Day one, baby.
Yeah, but at least I'm supporting the indie games by buying them. And then I end up having to review some stupidly long RPG or something like that.
Oh, God. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, what comes to mind?
Well, yeah, so this is a mini episode. As you keep reminding
I
me.
was going to say.
So trying to pare down topics, as we had some discussion beforehand, a little peek behind the curtain. I played too much Balatro for sure.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And having just gotten off doing some Game of the Year discussions with the Future family. Future Publishing.
Oh, my God. Future family.
Balatro definitely was a constant thing coming up for basically everyone. Myself
really?
Included. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't remember what's on the Golden Joysticks list, but Balatro is definitely in quite a few categories, I think. And was up for discussion for a lot of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I think everyone just loves Balatro.
Yep, it's very addicting. It's a great indie.
Is love the word?
Well,
yes,
how would you describe it? How would you describe it?
Well, it is a love-hate relationship with that little Joker, who's always saying like, you messed it up, pal. You made a fool of yourself.
Yeah, he's mischievous. God. I think Balatro, it's interesting. So like every discussion, like every category, Balatro was like chatted about. That's really impressive.
Yeah, even best performance. But I did say that as a joke for the Joker card.
Yes.
But, you know, he has got personality and he makes noises.
He's the kind of character that I'd probably, if he was like, do you want to go out for a pint? I'd be like, you know what? All right, I'll go out for a pint. I don't know if I would. I feel like
there's going to be
some
tomfoolery afoot.
Yes! It's going to be some mischief. But I'm up for that. It depends on. I guess it depends on the day. A Friday, absolutely.
I'd like walk over. I'd spill the pint a little bit, and he'd be like, "Yeah, goofed." Yeah. So I quite like roguelikes, as you may find out. There was some stuff I wrote down.
That was yes.
And I like card games. To a damaging degree.
Oh my God. To a health impacting degree. Is that how we're talking? Oh my God.
I mean, like, genuine, like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes.
I don't know why I said it like that. Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon cards. Even the Neopets trading card game.
I'm sorry.
You weren't on this?
No, what's that? What's the Neopets? I mean, I loved Neopets. I didn't know there was a.
I should still have like at least 2 decks around. So next time
we gotta play. Yes, I would love that.
It wasn't bad. God. It was based around you would like assemble. You'd have to earn prizes. You'd like get your pets out. Oh God, I don't remember even. No one played it. And so, yeah, my history is getting into these absurd card games and then having no one to play them with because no one else was playing the Neopets card game or the Dragon Ball Z card game, which there's a new Dragon Ball Z card game. This is the old one that no one played.
Oh, my God. Okay. Back in the day. Right.
Yes,
okay.
I had Babidi foil. Some people will know what that means, and it's not impressive.
This already has gone places. I did not know we were going to go when we started recording.
When you reach foil Babidi.
Yeah, when you reach foil Babidi, you're like, and Neopets card game, you're like,
Yeah, so...
yes.
I don't know why I'm getting into this, but yeah, I was obsessed with the Magic the Gathering Jewels of the Planeswalk on PC. And I got really into like... video game card games as kind of an escape from having no one to play. I to be clear, I have friends.
Yeah, spoiler, just newsflash, we have friends.
They played Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, but they didn't play any of the other stuff. So I quite like the idea of learning new rule sets and like being like, oh, this is how this is designed. And the triumph of Balatro, I think for me, and probably for a lot of people, is how it reassembles the poker format that basically everyone knows. And not everyone knows poker, but come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It plays within that kind of known rule set and then just utterly twists it in a devious way to kind of have you like, because you've spoken about this on Indieventure, I'm sure. I haven't listened to every episode, but how could you not talk about Balatro?
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially, if you're just listening to this episode for the first time, you're making poker hands to score points. It's not actually a poker game or a gambling game, even though they got into some scrapes of trouble about that.
They did, which is they couldn't release it in certain countries because people were like, they saw poker and was like, no, absolutely not.
It just cribs the scoring system basically, but then within that, it's about. I mean, if you just played it straight. Well, not straight.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
If you just played it straight, you would lose almost immediately.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's a game about kind of cheating the game, which I always love. I mean, that's why I love From Software games.
Oh.
Because even they are brutally hard, but they also always allow you room to mess with the game, to like poison the enemy and hide in the corner. Not every boss, but that's what I love about Demon Souls, for instance.
Yes.
It's also what I loved about Inscription as well.
That's a really good comparison.
Especially
Inscription was very much that kind of twisting.
Section.
Yeah, I dropped off the second section. I didn't quite finish the game because I just couldn't get through that second section. For those who know, no.
I did love how it riffed on the Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy Color specifically.
Yeah, that is true. I never played it, but I understand.
It's an absurd pull. It is available on Switch, by the way, in the Game Boy section. It's worth trying because you can also cheat then and like rewind it if you get a bad hand. So the AI annoys you. Just power through.
You can be like, goodbye.
Yeah, it's a very specific parody of that Game Boy Color game.
That's so weird. I didn't think about that. I just found it really. I just liked the first part so much.
God, it is the best part. Yeah, and they even added
so
that.
Good.
What was the extra mode they added where you can play it endlessly, basically?
Yes,
which makes
endless
it
mode. Yes.
Not a far cry from Balatro in the sense that you're playing a card game that you can just cheat and see how far you can get by gaming the game.
But push your luck.
Balatro's kind of a purer form of that, which makes it really easy to get into. Even just getting lost in that soundscape of that dreamy vaporwave aesthetic and the music and the sound effects of when you ratchet up points.
Slot machine. It's literally a slot machine, like the ding, 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 ding. Oh, so good.
Yeah, we were definitely talking about it in those terms in some Game of the Year stuff about like favorite soundtracks and sound design and stuff. I'm always interested in that kind of thing. But yeah, so it's about intersecting Joker cards, which add absurd rules.
Wild rules.
Yeah, and kind of trying to assemble jokers that all play off of each other, and then also you've got the planet cards that boost certain hands, the tarot cards that give you kind of other effects, like allow you to modify your deck of cards, which is persistent across a run, have like extra multipliers and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're building a machine of sorts, like an engine. In which everything kind of locks into and tips off everything else, so you end up with ridiculous amounts of points and numbers in such a satisfying way that just scratches that dopamine itch.
And there's so many small decisions with the kind of machine you're trying to build, where it's like, well, do I spend money on this round? If maybe there's a card of some interest in my build, but maybe I should keep the money, or you spend it and then you're like, oh, I should have saved it. Do you skip around to like get, because there's also tags you can get for skipping rounds, which can also be like, well, you get like $25, which is a lot because you don't get that much money.
Yes.
For beating the boss. And you're like, well, can I forego getting the rewards for this one to just go all in on the boss? It's a
risk-reward decision-making, which is, God, pushes me over the edge. The amount of times I've skipped and just instantly regretted it when I've seen the rule of the next.
Yeah. Sometimes you're like, wow, do I want to keep a Joker on hand that I can like discard to modify the boss rule? Because the boss rules are all stupid things that like you must use one type of hand to score, or you cannot repeat the type of hand to score. And then especially that can mess you up if you're building a very specific around one scoring hand.
Yeah, run killer.
A mode I like to play sometimes casually is the one that makes it so it's only two suits in the deck, like one black and one red one. So you can just go hyper in on the flush and you kind of don't have to worry about it so much.
Yes.
But I haven't got past the black chip, which is another thing in this game of things where they add extra rules on top each time you finish a run. So you get stuff like Eternal Jokers, and once you've made the decision to bring them on, you can't discard them.
It's interesting. So, like, during your Game of the Year discussions, not to give too much away.
Yeah, I don't know how much I can talk about this.
Yeah, but are we, in terms of the indie space as well, because I'd like your opinion on this, are you thinking Balatro is like maybe like an indie Game of the Year? Like, what do you think? Where do you think that it would sit?
For me, it's probably my best indie game of the year.
Yeah. Not to get too into it, though, but you also played 1000 Extra Resist, right?
Perhaps.
And what? That's not your... Sorry, I'm like, that is my game. Like, I'm pretty sure at this point that's my game of the year, so I was wondering.
Well, so another peek
behind the curtain. We will talk about PlayStation in a bit. We will. I just really want to know Oscar's opinion about
So another
indie
peek
games
behind
this
the
year.
curtain is, yes, this... I and ahed between what I would say to you in this moment was my best one. Between essentially... Balatro and 1000 Times Resist, and Penny's Big Breakaway, which I
that one.
I don't know if anyone played that one. But yeah, 1000 Times Resist. I played that quite late after it came out. I played it in 2 sittings.
Yeah.
I got through the first chapter in the first one, and then I was just locked in.
Yeah, it's such a good game. I'm like begging Liam and Rebecca to play it before we have our end of the year chats, because
Grace.
Hecky Grace. Yes, Hecky Grace, Oscar. Hair to hair.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's really good. I think the narrative is really good. And I love the lightweight exploration stuff. Yes, the map of that hub is a bit annoying, even with the map added in. I don't know if you played when they actually had the map or...
I didn't play with the map, but I played where there was like an overlay and it would show you where people were, but it wasn't quite as good as the map.
It was a bit tough. I know I did binge it, but toward the end I was almost like, would this be just as well served by a fast travel menu a la Neon White? But then in the final section, I was like, oh, I like how they played with the space, actually, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Because there's a bit where you kind of come back to an area and it's changed, not just in visuals, but in how you navigate the space. They're
Yes,
trying
yes.
desperately to avoid spoilers.
Yeah, dancing around any sort of
Which is pretty
spoilers.
cool and probably worth most minor inconveniences. I wish the map was a little easier to navigate. But yeah, the story's really well told. I like that lightweight kind of exploration, which did remind me of some other kind of adventure games like AI The Somnium Files.
Oh, yes.
Which I may have been going on about when you were working with me. I don't remember.
No, I do remember.
It's just a
because
haze.
It's just so long ago we worked together.
It wasn't that long ago.
I don't know. Anything.
Kind of was.
Yeah, it kind of was. I think for me, Balatru's up there for my indie of the year, but I think for me, 1000 Times Resist is, it just has absolutely blown me away.
Did you play it on PC?
I did. Did you play it?
I played it on
PC or
the
PlayStation?
Nintendo Switch. It's not on PlayStation.
How was it?
It doesn't run that well.
Oh, see, that's why I was like,
Which I
wanted it on
think
PC.
has made it a struggle for some people.
Oh, that's so annoying.
Which is a bit of a shame, as it has really nice kind of dynamic poses, similar to... my whole existence is comparing things to other things. Similar to Necro Barista.
Yes, I knew you were going to say that because we both played that. Yes, it's very Necro Barista.
Yeah, which was great in how it kind of paused over like certain poses. And this is all going to tie in later when I talk about some other stuff. So
oh yeah, definitely. This is all preparing you. Yes,
there's an exam in the end. I really like the story, which is this kind of sci-fi, this kind of really kind of hazy sci-fi of like what is going on in this world. You're just kind of thrown into it. Something has happened to humanity. All that's left are these like legions of clones of this one particular girl, and it's like, what happened?
Yeah.
And you discover what happened, but also kind of dig into this new kind of society and what the rules of it are and how the rules of it have evolved across multiple generations of like these clones and stuff, how this world came to be, by kind of diving through memories. Again, a little like AI and the Somnium Files. I like diving through memories.
Diving through memories is cool.
And each time at the beginning, you're joined with another of like, I'm terrible at game terminology. Each of the like sisters, there's like a main sister who like governs a part of society. So you're kind of like the memory one. So you're all about learning the history of stuff, and you've been granted the authority to bring some of these other ones with you to kind of learn about it. So you got like a war one, kind of a military one.
Yes. Yeah.
Like a kind of nurse one, kind of
like a doctor.
Like a doctor, but also doing experiments.
Yes.
And you're kind of learning about them and their take on the world as you progress through these memories of the person you're like cloned from. I think that's not a spoiler.
No, nothing you've said is spoilers. Also, I've definitely talked about it way more in depth on the podcast, so you have nothing to worry about.
Because I play a lot of these kind of narrative-heavy games.
Yeah, me too.
Not as much as I used to for time reasons, but it's definitely a genre I like a lot. And it can be very difficult to take you through a long story and not feel like it's just taking ages. And it does a very nice job of breaking it up into chapters, basically. Like
the pacing is amazing.
And obviously it's long. It's not too long. I did it in like a day. I am a hardcore gamer though, so
capital G, capital H, hardcore gamer.
Smashed it. Another game mastered. Bring on the next one.
I hope it comes to PlayStation.
It's a shame it's not. Obviously, I would have reviewed it at Play.
Yeah.
That ship has sailed.
That was always a conversation we had when we worked together. It was like, this indie's great. Hope it comes to PlayStation at some point. And usually
grumble. But then it was good when you're on the magazine because you played it already. So it would come to PlayStation and I'd be like, Rachel, just play it again.
And I'm like, absolutely.
What an easy, simple life it was.
Oh, back then, of course. Magazine life is an oasis of zero worries, really.
Yes, well, Considering it closed, but
Yes.
some worries.
No. Lots of worries. Deadline worries.
Well, it was really nice to get the space to curate, and that's why I like podcasts like Indieventure.
Yay!
Where creation can continue.
Yes, and with that, let's have a chat about some PlayStation indie curation.
But I didn't say about Penny yet. No, I'm not going to talk about Penny, but let me just say this. It's a good game.
Love that.
Give it a try.
Oscar approved.
The mechanics are weird, but it's good that they're weird because it's a different type of 3D platformer. Once you learn how it plays, it's good. I promise. Give it time.
You sound exasperated. Give it time, please.
People didn't. People said it played bad. That's because they didn't know. They didn't understand.
They had no idea. Right, okay. Once more, what was the name of that game? Because I've not heard of it.
Penny's Big Breakaway. It's from the team that did Sonic Mania, but it's 3D.
Oh, cool.
And it has a really cool kind of vaporwave aesthetic and soundtrack.
Okay, well, this is Penny's big break. You on this podcast
it's Penny's time.
It's Penny's time. Let's go, Penny.
There's hordes of penguins in it.
Oh, I like that.
They're trying to arrest you because you accidentally pulled down the king's trousers. I was going to elaborate, but I think I won't.
I know. I was like, okay.
I think I'll leave it as is, and it's up to you, the listener, to discover.
I'm convinced. I've got so many games to catch up with. The year is running out, Oscar. I cannot believe how
it's
many
a quick
games
platformer, you know, it's like, it's so
how
breezy.
Long? How long are we talking?
How long do you want it to be?
I want it to be under 10 hours.
Yes. Oh, God, yeah, it's way under. I wish it was longer. Probably like 4 hours or so.
Oh, incredible.
Maybe less.
Okay.
There's not that many worlds. It's very like, you play a level, you're done in like under 5 minutes, easy.
Oh. Right, you have tricked me into talking about it.
I didn't.
We need to move on.
I said try it. Yeah, so PlayStation.
Right. Yes.
The home
Let's have
of
a chat about that. Hello.
It's odd, isn't it?
Yes. So, should we chat about it? Let's chat about PlayStation and indies. As someone who has written for magazines for many years about PlayStation and I want your expert opinion.
I created a big document full of too much stuff to talk about.
Oh, okay.
That's
well, here's a challenge. Here's a challenge for you.
Don't.
Can you ultimately?
Can you not?
The challenge is to squeeze that document into a tight 30 minutes. Go.
This is scary. I've had nightmares to this effect.
You have to sacrifice for Penny's big whatever it was. Okay. That is, yeah.
Well, I have a place I want us to land, so I'm just gonna say that PlayStation has been historically a platform with a lot of cool quirkiness, and if you think about it, aren't indies a little bit like that?
Oh, love that. Love that. You know what? I've thought about it, and you're right. Absolutely.
I seem to recall that you like shit. I shouldn't swear. Delete that.
Excuse me.
Delete.
No, you can absolutely swear on the podcast.
My reputation is in shambles. You like is it Proteus?
I love Proteus. Yes.
I always mix it up with Proteus, which is a indie FPS that's all gnarly, and Proteus is the other.
No, I'm definitely, I'm the opposite. Proteus sounds like the opposite.
Well, if you think about it, LSD Dream Emulator on the PS1
okay.
I think I went quiet there. Sorry, I was so excited I wasn't facing the mic. LSD Dream Emulator on the PS1 is a little bit like the same kind of thing, where you're exploring all of these weird vaporwave dreams, and you're not going to get the same one more than once. And I think that kind of was an indie game because it's kind of an art project.
This looks so cool. This looks wild. I'm literally just had to quickly Google it. Oh my God.
And if you think about it, isn't that a bit indie? That's what I got.
Done. We can move on from PlayStation now. This game looks wild. The fact they called it LSD Dream Emulator is also
Yeah, I think
very
it was
funny.
only released in Japan, but it's become a bit of a cult classic.
This is great. This
and
looks
games
awesome.
being released only in Japan was no barrier to a PS1 aficionado back in the day.
Oh, yes.
Imports
like
and
yourself.
shipping them and everything. And then I also have another through line for the PS2. You like to hear this?
Okay.
There are cool games on PS2 that are a bit weird. And if you think about it, isn't that a little indie?
Oh my god.
No, but I do think it's interesting.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yes. PS2. I feel like
that some of those devs who are making some of those quirky kind of games on PS2, like Katamari,
yes.
or even like Killer 7, which, you know, is a different kind of quirky, have gone on to like pursue a more indie-ish direction. Because you've got Suda51's doing that indie game with Swery at the moment, Hotel Barcelona.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And you've got the Katamari, Keita Takahashi went on to do Watam.
Yes, Watam.
So there's definitely a through line between people who are making some of those like quirkier, smaller budget kind of PS2 games, which you could kind of get away with back then. There's also like the D3 Simple series. I don't know how familiar you are with the Simple series.
You know I'm going to be Googling almost every game you chat to me about. So what was it? The DS?
The D3 publisher, Simple 2000 series. You may have seen The Sniper 2.
Oh,
which
yeah.
has a very B-movie vibe and some quirky cutscenes. Those games were like deliberately meant to be 2,000 yen, the Simple 2000 series.
Oh,
which is about 12 quid.
Oh,
so they were
God.
Like budget.
Yes.
But in a way that allowed a lot of experimentation for some of these developers. They'd work with a bunch of developers. Just be like, here is, I guess, a tiny budget. Make something. And that's gave birth to stuff like Earth Defense Force and that kind of thing.
This is wild because, like, I really don't have any. I mean, I didn't play any of these, and I don't know if many of them actually made it across to us ever.
Well, Earth Defense Force exists.
Yeah, But that's interesting how even back then on those kind of consoles, Japanese creators were like pumping out really like interesting, quirky. And if you think about it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that the kind of the rise of the indie type thing, you know, Xbox Live Arcade and all that coincides with the domination of the HD generation when budgets for games, like AAA games, are getting out of control. And now we're in this situation that we're in general. But yeah, definitely on PlayStation. I think this was pointed out in episode 21 of Indieventure.
Oh my God.
I don't remember if that's the correct one. It was the Vault episode where you were doing old games. And I think Rebecca was choosing Journey.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think Liam said that PlayStation was kind of curating their indies and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which it definitely kind of was. But also, as someone gaming in that period, it was quite noticeable that they didn't have some of these like Xbox exclusive games. Like the big hitters, Super Meat Boy, did come, but it took a few years. And Braid and all of that, you know, all of the ones from Indie Game the movie were like Xbox exclusive for quite a while on consoles. Obviously, they're on PC as well, but however, in 2011, I don't know if this is the correct year, so around 2011,
around approximately,
PlayStation lent into that curation in an interesting way with the PS Plus monthly games.
Yes, I remember that.
Because they didn't charge to play online.
They didn't?
But they did, not for a while, but they introduced this monthly thing you could sign up for, and you would get free games every month, which would then be copied by Xbox with Games with Gold in like a couple years later. But that almost always, every month, would come with a cool indie game. I think like Machinarium was one of the first ones I remember.
Was it? That is cool.
And I'm sure they put stuff like Journey on there and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So I guess were they looking for games to bulk up the subscription service? Or do you think that they were genuinely like, we want to spotlight these games?
I can merely speculate. I can merely speculate on this. I haven't researched it that thoroughly. But it was definitely a cool appeal. Because you'd sign up for like, I don't know, Uncharted 3 would be on there, but then you get these cool indies and stuff. And then the PlayStation Vita released, which is kind of where I want to plant a flag a bit. Because you kids with your Switches.
Back in the day, we had.
When did the Vita come out? I'm going to be bad and look this up. Sorry.
No, absolutely do that.
I did not prepare this information in advance.
See, I was a PSP girly. I was not a Vita girly, so you're going to have to educate me.
I didn't have PSP, so I'm bad on that in that front. But the ingenious element of the PS Vita was the introduction of something we like to call the second analog stick. Which I think it was the first handheld, or at least the first like handheld to sell like any amount of units. And not that the Vita sold very well, but it was like a mainstream handheld console with 2 analog sticks, which allowed it to kind of do a lot of console-esque type, like big screen type stuff. Though for some reason there's only one L and R button, so that is where it falls down. And there's a rear and a front-facing touchpad. It was a bit over-designed.
It looks nice though. It's a cute little console.
And I've got it right here for video.
Have you? You've got yours.
This is great for audio, and this is your fault. I got a second one.
Oh,
I have just purchased this. I've just purchased this second Vita.
Is that a cherry red? That's a very cute Vita.
Yeah. So this is the OG model, the OLED screen. They downgraded to an LCD one.
Okay.
So the genius is the second analog stick, but also the genius is the ecosystem.
Okay.
I'm running out of time.
You know what? Absolutely fine.
So I dropped my Vita.
No, you didn't. Oh my God, is it okay?
Yeah, it just fell onto my armrest, which is where it belongs.
Which one? Not the red one.
No, the slim one.
Oh, okay.
Which is the elder of the two in terms of how long I've owned them. So also the genius was the ecosystem, because with cross-play and cross-buy, these monthly games, they had a Vita port. You would get them on every system. And then when they introduced the PS4, which kind of has the most overlap with the Vita, you would get them for all three, PS3, Vita, and PS4.
Oh.
So it was just a great place to play. Yeah, the Vita is weird because it was great for playing both really long games and really short games. Because you play like huge RPGs. This is why Persona 4 Golden blew up. Because it was a port of the PS2 game, obviously. But actually allowed people to play it on like flights and stuff.
Yeah.
Rather than being sat in front of the TV playing.
Were you playing indies on the Vita back then? What were you playing? What were your go-tos?
Is this a handy segue?
No, I honestly, indies is where I live. Everything I want to know about.
It allowed me to try so much stuff. Like, because it was like, most of it through PS Plus, I think. And then they would do so many sales where it'd be like, well, it's like cross-buy, you're getting on everything. So just to kind of mention some stuff, it was what was great about it too is they were very rarely exclusive to Vita, but it was like the home for indies. It was like the best place to play, similar to Switch now.
Yes.
So like games like Hotline Miami and stuff was great on it. That bite-sized gameplay. I mean, PC and mouse is pretty good on Hotline Miami. I'm not going to lie, but also being able to play it on the train is pretty good too.
Is also great. Yeah. Beating up gangsters and mobsters on the go.
Like Luftrausers and like Rogue Legacy and Spelunky and Counter Spy, which people don't talk about much, but is another roguelike with it's got kind of a 60s spy aesthetic. Yeah. So the one I wanted to talk about the most at the moment, looking at the timeline, we're doing good. So there are certain pillars I would like to discuss. Right.
Show me. Are we in a temple right now? Are we?
Yes.
PS Vita temple.
The Vita was great for visual novels.
Yes.
Probably where most people started playing visual novels, because they weren't even localized that much until like the PS Vita. I think PS3 got some.
Yeah, that's how I know about a lot of like the visual novel girlies would always go on about the PS Vita and getting Japanese imports specifically. For the Vita. Yes.
Yes, games like Steins Gate. Disclaimer, I worked on Steins Gate English Vita.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a fun time.
What were you doing? I didn't like it.
Marketing stuff. You didn't like it? Well, you're going to love it. And also loads of otome games, like those kind of dating attractive men games, which is still really popular, especially on Switch.
Oh my God, so popular.
Buster Fellows blew up.
Yes, it did. I keep seeing TikToks of like, this is how I know about how the PS Vita and all these otome games is because now the Switch is pretty good. Yeah. Yeah,
and it does break my heart every time because the Vita's smaller size does make it nicer to like read on and like to lounge around with.
Get those private moments in with those boys.
So games like Hakuoki and stuff, but those aren't indie. So I wanted to spotlight Valhalla Cyberpunk Bartending Action, which is available on many systems, but this is where I came to know it, which is, well, I was going to say it's a visual novel, but I am aware that some visual novel fans, myself included, might consider it more of an adventure game in the...
because of the bartending aspects as well.
Yes, because of the interactivity elements to it, similar to like Famicom Detective Club and... I felt like I said that in the Megalopolis way by accident.
Yeah.
Back to the club or whatever. Back to the club.
Oh my God.
Valhalla, welcome to the world of Glitch City, where stuff's not going good and nanomachines are everywhere, whether you want them to be or not. It's like a kind of grim dystopia that very much harkens back to to the likes of Blade Runner and stuff, but also probably specifically drawing from games like Snatcher and stuff on the like PC Engine and stuff.
Yeah, grungy.
Yeah, and it's got some gorgeous pixel art, a somewhat maximalist UI in a cool way. It's not scary, but it's got a lot of elements on that HUD. Not full on World of Horror, but
oh my God, yeah, World of Horror. I was scared. The game horror, fine. The scary aspect is the amount of
figuring
buttons
out what anything does.
Yes.
But when you get it, it's cool. I like World of Horror, but
World of Horror is great.
Yeah, so you're in this gritty world, but the story is very intimate, and personal. You play as a bartender at the Valhalla, spelt with some numbers and stuff. It's kind of going to go out of business in a few months, probably. It's going to get shut down. Some events are happening in the city, and you're kind of just talking with your regulars, as as life goes on, and getting little tidbits of story each day. You play like 19 days or thereabouts, and you have a few clients a day with a break in between. And it is like quite a grim world, but it has a lot of heart in how the people kind of move through it, which kind of makes it quite cozy. It's kind of like hanging out with friends kind of thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the clients are dicks.
Yes.
And I just love that kind of world building where you're kind of thrown into it and you just kind of get these little hints of what's going on. There might be like a big event that happens at there's like an event that happens at a bank, but you only hear like, oh, there's rumors that something's going to go down. And then some of your clients are kind of caught up with it. And then you kind of talk to them about the consequences, but you don't really see it yourself. You're just limited to that bar. And in between days, you're at like apartment and you can buy little decorations and stuff.
Yes.
And each time they're asking you for a drink as well, which has an interactive element to... Yeah,
you have to make the drink for them.
It's usually very simple. And quite often there are like times where it's a bit open as well. They're like, oh, give me this, give me a classy drink.
I want something that's sweet. Yeah.
Or something without alcohol. Or something with loads of alcohol. Or a big version of this drink where you just double the sizes.
Yes.
And that interaction sometimes does pay off. You can get extra scenes. I just like the really simple world building of, I think the first customer you get who isn't a tutorial asks for a beer and you like look it up in your little book and it's like, oh, well, this isn't an actual what we would call a beer. Yes. This is like a concoction of chemicals that is meant to resemble a classic beer. Which I just think is such a nice touch, and each recipe has these little instructions and stuff. And you don't have to, you do have to follow the recipes, but you kind of get to know some of the regular drinks and stuff. And sometimes if you remember what your clients like, so, sometimes that will help. Sometimes I ask for one thing, but maybe it will kind of hint that maybe they mean another. And you can choose to serve them either what they explicitly asked for or what they kind of implicitly ask for. And sometimes you can give them extra alcohol as a bonus too. Like,
you can mix it up.
Yeah, I don't think that adds too much, but I think it does change like a handful of scenes. People sometimes appreciate you being generous.
Yeah.
In a grim
I feel
world.
like Valhalla as well was one of the first, because I mean, we've seen this structure of visual novel in Coffee Talk, in Red Strings Club, but Valhalla was really the first kind of game which I was like, this is about world building, sci-fi, but also the being a bartender and getting information out of your customers in exchange of drinks and alcohol. And that was so smart.
It's such a nice and cozy way to do it. It would be probably one of the games I would most recommend to people who are interested in visual novels, even though it's not technically just a visual novel.
Yeah.
Because it is just that approachable in such a nice way. Like, it just feels good to be like, oh, okay, I'll play through a few clients or something, or a couple days.
But that's the thing. Like with Steins Gate with me, it was just all text.
God, it's so long.
So long, all text. At least with like Valhalla or like visual novels of that style, there's like it's broken up with like bits of like you can affect the story a little bit in certain ways. Where the Steins Gate is just it is basically just like a book.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not like I have no criticisms for Valhalla. Like, the writing doesn't always hit. There's a lot of comparing breast sizes for some reason.
Oh, it does that Japanese thing of like,
which happens sometimes. I'm like, why are they talking about this like so much?
Just press A.
It does rely on some memes of the era a bit. Like, I think Kanye West is implied to have a country.
Oh my God.
It does riff on some quite specific things, sometimes to its detriment. Like, there's a character who's visually based on George Costanza from Seinfeld, which I love.
Okay. I don't remember that.
But there's a few times where it's like, okay, maybe it's a bit heavy-handed. But overall, I think it does speak to how nice and how well written the kind of overall story is, and the cozy structure of it, that you just sink into it.
Yeah.
Which is just great. And it's great to play on the Vita on such a small device, just kind of.
PC? Absolutely not. Purchase a Vita from CEX.
Well, sometimes they can be a bit
eBay.
sticky. I got mine from Amazon Japan.
Oh, okay. That's how you should play Valhalla.
Yeah.
That's the correct way.
I think it's on Switch. It's just such a great game. I haven't played Coffee Talk, so that will probably be where I'll go next. Wanting to revisit that. They have had a game called Nirvana in the works for ages.
Yes, they have. It's been years.
It got put back. They're working on a game called 45 Parabellum now, which is a Parasite Eve inspired. It's low poly. It's kind of like Signalis or something. It looks pretty cool. We got a preview for it in the final issue of Play magazine on shelves, 15th of October.
Yes, everyone, please. It's Play's final issue. Oh, we all say our goodbyes in it. We all say goodbyes to Play.
Yeah, it's sad.
For those who don't know, I mean, maybe if you haven't picked up context clues, but Play is, it's closing.
Yes, the
this final issue is out.
Former official PlayStation magazine legacy of, since the 90s, since 95, really, with the first OPM.
Yes.
It's evolved. It's merged elements with like PSM and stuff, and now it is drifting away.
It's floating Pikmin style.
It's like in X-Men, the live action movie, where the guy can like squeeze between the bars, and then eventually he just becomes
what?
Was he become water?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
You've not seen X-Men, the first movie?
No, I've not seen any. I don't think I've seen any X-Men film. What? The first X-Men movie. We're just watting past each other.
The first X-Men movie? You've not seen it?
No.
Well, there's a guy.
No.
becomes...
There's a waterman? What?
Well, he's not really water. He can bend himself. He's been experimenting on. Cliff Notes. He was forcibly turned into a mutant.
X-Men mutant. What's his name?
I don't know. He was kidnapped by Magneto, forcibly turned into a mutant.
Mutant.
He like squeezes through the bars. His like body can like break down a bit. He washes up on a beach, and then he's looking all bad. And
I don't know what. Okay, I'm googling X-Men body weirdo mutant.
All to say, he just kind of evaporates. He just, his molecules, his atoms can't stay together anymore. And then he just. The CG probably looks terrible now.
Wait, what are we talking? How does he play into it? I forgot.
This is what happened to play.
Oh,
because it kind of absorbed the stuff, and then it just got like boo.
Right,
but in a good way.
And you morphed it. You helped morph it.
Wait, so I'm Magneto.
Magneto,
an evil master scheme.
You're the evil man, the evil guy. I don't know what that made me when I worked there. I don't know.
So visual novels, great. Next thing I want to talk about.
Next one.
I'm not going to talk about RPGs. That is a pillar, but forget it. I don't have an indie to go to for it. Persona's good.
Okay. Persona's amazing.
The Binding of Isaac Rebirth.
Of course.
There are other versions are available on Switch and that. But this is the only one I play.
Oh yeah, I've not played it. I'm not a Binding of Isaac girly.
And also the new version is expensive, and I never see it on sale. And
is
I have a version already, so yeah.
So you return back to the trusty old.
Well,
Vita.
It's also the one that's got my save on it because so Binding of Isaac, you may have heard of it. Is it pretty famous? It's pretty famous, right?
Oh yeah, definitely,
is to me
for sure.
It's one of the. It's not one of the early roguelikes, because that would be Rogue. But
yes.
It's one of the earlier roguelikes to break out from this kind of indie scene that began with Super Meat Boy, etc. Ed McMullen, is that right?
Edmund McMillan is his name.
I'm looking it up. I'm sorry.
It is McMillan.
Okay, so I got it right. It's Edmund McMillan, so one of the co-creators of Super Meat Boy. It began as a Flash game, Binding of Isaac, on PC, where I did play a lot of it actually at first. Very simple controls. Basically, it's a twin stick shooter. You go room to room, you get upgrades, etc. But it all has a really kind of upsetting and gnarly.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's gross. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's grim.
I'm kind of obsessed with it.
Oh my god! How many hours do you think you've put into it?
God, I don't want to know. Luckily, it doesn't track, but a lot on Vita. Yeah, so it's this horrible, horrible thing that I love. It's about you're this boy and you're kind of like locked. It's all very abstract. So you're kind of like locked up by your mum and you like end up in a basement and you're like exploring and there are all these disgusting horrors.
That like represent things.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
You got like poo monsters.
I was going to say the poo monster.
You got like weird versions of yourself that just like flesh and
like wombs and worms and
all sorts of disgust and stuff. But it does give it a really strong personality, gross one. And it does have the benefit of while you're going around twin stick shooting, which by the way, are just simply Isaac's tears. That's the weapon you begin with.
Yes.
You're shooting tears around.
Oh.
There's a great like plop, plop, plop effect. And then like squidginess is like you destroy poo. And you're like slowly, as you beat more bosses, you unlock like new final bosses. So it like encourages you to do more runs. It's more like it's a much bigger game than it first appears. And it unlocks new items that can appear. It's not really like a persistent roguelike, but it is a roguelike where the pool of options expands.
Yes.
And it's very, like, it does make a very interesting choice, which has been, modders have gotten around, and I know a lot of people play it with, like, item info on, but it's very, like, deliberately in the base game doesn't really over-explain items to you.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
Discovery for yourself is kind of part of it. Like sometimes it will tell you a little bit like, oh, speed up, but it won't like tell you like the full effect of this ram's horn also means you get the charge attack if stuff like that. The last run I had that was successful involved me having I traded like my hearts for like extra but expendable hearts that you can't refill them, but it like triples them.
Okay.
But I also ended up with like an item that like a cat's 9 lives item, which is a horrible roadkill cat, which is like you the child's cat that you're upset about dying, I think.
Oh my god,
it's bleak.
This game, Jesus.
It's bleak. But it's all in like a cartoony style. But anyway, so that gives you like 9 lives, but gives you 1 heart each time. But then I could use the item whenever I wanted to triple it to like 3 hearts. So it wasn't that bad. And then also I had like a shield of flies that like when I killed things, it gave me more flies, but then they attacked. And somehow I got my damage up to max and it just like melted everyone. It's one of those kind of like momentum based games.
Right.
Where like sometimes you can just have such a good run. And then other times, like it rarely feels like you're not getting anything good, but it's like, how can I make this work? Occasionally you have bad runs, but oftentimes it's like, how like do I risk going straight to the boss or do I like do other rooms, but then I might get hurt. But yeah, just like there's so much to do in this game. I'm still unlocking new items. I've finished it like 12 times or something. There's still new bosses.
I'm looking at the Steam page. It's like over 500 hours of gameplay, 4 billion seeded runs, 450 items.
I've only just finished I think I only just beat the cathedral boss for the last time. No, for the first time, sorry. Which is like an extra route with a kind of hard boss. It's not even one of the final bosses. I played it a lot, but like I don't finish it that often. And I felt pretty pleased with myself.
On the Steam page as well, it says it's like one of the top games. It's got a banner that says Binding of Isaac Rebirth is one of the top games played on Steam Deck. So it's very much a handheld kind of game.
Yeah, and because it's got that twin stick shooter style, it's still like 4 directions. It was perfect for Vita, right? Because I played a lot on PC on the original version.
Yeah.
Rebirth is a remake for console ports.
Right.
I would probably recommend just buying whatever the latest version is on Switch or whatever. It's expensive, but it is worth the money. You literally will play it that much.
Yeah.
But this is just the one I've invested time in. I'm not sure the network is still up, but you used to be able to shift saves, across big screen, small screen and stuff. I mostly just played on Vita though, because it's just so nice. It's dangerous to have that on the go.
Yes, that is dangerous. So, yeah, where are we going to next? Take me on this journey. Was there another pillar?
Ollie Ollie 2, which is the pillar of, well, it's not a roguelike. I guess it's just a bite-sized indie. It's not run-based. It's quick. It's quick. Because Binding of Isaac, each run can take a while once you get into it.
Yes.
No level in Ollie Ollie 2 takes more than a minute, I swear.
See, I've not played an Ollie Ollie game, so...
Whoa. That actually surprises
I'm not really
me.
into... Yeah, I don't... I thought about playing Ollie Ollie World, which came out, a year or 2 ago?
Yeah.
But I've actually... Yeah, skateboarding games, I've not. I'm very much a babe in the woods.
That is a good game. Ollie Ollie World is a good game, and it does have a campaign that might make it easier for some people to get into. Ollie Ollie and Ollie Ollie 2, on the other hand, are super campaign-like. Basically, it's a series of levels, and that's basically it with theming. I feel like the levels are shorter in Ollie Ollie 2.
Oh my god, this looks like a Flash game.
Yeah, well...
Oh, this looks great!
If you want to read more about the development, check out my GamesRadar article.
Yes!
Which is from Play Magazine. Yes. Just search my name and Ollie Ollie and GamesRadar, which is an interview with the devs just after World came out about the development from start to finish, how they got to Ollie Ollie World, how they conceived of the first one, how they built on it, etc.
So what makes it a pillar then?
Oh, I don't know. I'd lumped it in with like Luftrausers and stuff, very like...
Oh, I see, I put so many hours into Luftrausers. Oh my god.
Miami and that.
Yeah.
I mean... Ollie Ollie 2 again is all stick-based action. It's like you're doing the left stick and you're doing X to like land tricks, and then with the left stick you're just flicking. But yeah, with like minute-based, like minute or less like levels.
Yes.
You're just on the train, you do a few, you might pick up some stars for doing the optional objectives and stuff. It's a nice amount of mechanics. I think World maybe added slightly too many with like the grab tricks and the half pipes and stuff, and like a kind of busier levels that I think take a bit longer. Ollie Ollie 2 is just like, it's just a nicely designed level that you're just running through quickly. I can see why they expanded it, but it's especially for like big consoles and stuff, which I guess was a bigger factor for World. But yeah, Ollie Ollie and Ollie Ollie 2 just suit Vita so perfectly. But yeah, and other games too, like Luftrausers and stuff.
Yes.
That's another game which just felt perfect on Vita, you know? That's essentially a twin stick shooter as well, sort of like Isaac. But yeah, it's just very quick bursts of how long can you survive. Probably not more than a few minutes.
Oh my god, yeah.
You're building, you're assembling your airplane. Is it powerful but hard to control, you know? Or is it like easy to control but you can't kill anything?
Big and slow or quick and nippy. Yeah,
honestly, I'd probably throw kind of Hotline Miami in that as well. It does have a kind of a narrative, but like when you're replaying levels and stuff like that, it's another like super quick one.
Absolutely.
You just sit down and you go.
Hell yeah. Oh, I'm looking at the Luftrausers page now. It's taking me back. I think that was the first Devolver game I ever played.
Damn. Yeah, I think that was a pretty early one for them.
That was early for them. God damn it.
Yeah, Vita was just a great time to be getting into indies. And I think it put a lot of indies on the map for people, just especially with PS Plus, because it was like, well, you know, Vita was a good console, but it wasn't super well supported by big publishers.
Was it not?
No, like there's an Uncharted game on there, but it's not that good. Like, it is actually better than you think. Do play it if you like Uncharted, but it's not core Vita. Like I think they kind of pitched it like, oh, it's like almost as powerful as PS3. Well, not, you know what I mean, but big console on the go, and that kind of wasn't actually what people loved about it. And they never really adapted themselves. They have some good games on there, you know, Gravity Rush, Tearaway started on there as well.
Oh yeah, that made use of the touchpad, right?
I think the ports for PS4 are pretty good though. But yeah, there's just some games that just on Vita with that small screen. There's two little sticks. There's just something about it. And it's just really, it's a shame that it had to go. Like I genuinely miss it. I like the Switch, but you know, it is bulkier, it is bigger. You're not 100% sure if a game runs well.
I feel the same. I feel the same about the PSP. The PSP and like I assume by extension PS Vita, there is something more different about that compared to like the Switch. Even the way they feel. Yeah, I could just hold it in one hand, just easily. Like the great podcasting. Yeah, look at me hold this Vita. It's so like the slim one is genuinely pretty slim, and then the other model is like an OLED screen too, so it's a really nice screen. It fits so well in the hands. Like I wish there was a smaller option for Switch. I mean, there is actually a smaller option for Switch, isn't there? But even that is like not as small. It's still like a bulky. It's a bulky handheld. But I mean, it's not exactly. What was it? Like Game Boy Micro small. No, that was too much. That was wild. I remember people were calling that a McDonald's toy at one point. They were like, "This is like something you'd get it free in a Happy Meal." It was like, okay. I liked my pink Game Boy Micro, but now the PSP and PS Vita, there was just something really slick about them that I honestly don't think PlayStation has. All these big clunky consoles really piss me the fuck off. Yeah, I like them, and I do like the indie curation they're doing at the moment. I think it's interesting that Shuhei Yoshida did kind of spin off into what they call the indie initiative, and they do spotlight some cool stuff. Yes, like the launch game for PS5 for me was Bugsnax. Yes, oh my god, Oscar, I absolutely love you. Absolutely. God, I love that game so much. Well, I mean, what other games? What other games on PS5 was gonna? Do you know what I mean? Alba was good. Alba was so good, but that's the thing. It was the indies. When you walk on the wood,
you feel it in the DualSense. What? How?
That's the thing, that haptic feedback. And that's the thing as well, because for me, I play a lot of indies on PC, but when I play an indie on PS5 and they proper take into account that haptic feedback is so good, I'm like,
some
oh my
some
God.
of the best.
Chia felt so good on PlayStation.
I haven't played that yet. Solar Ash is a really good one.
See, I've not played that. We should exchange.
It has this whole mechanic where you're like running up these giant bosses in Solar Ash, and you're like slamming these little needles into them. You're skating around, you're slamming these needles in, and there's like a bit of just enough pushback on the DualSense where it gives that a lot more impact. Where I genuinely think it wouldn't be as good if I hadn't played it with that.
Yes, I honestly think, no, I agree. There's some games I've played on PS5 that I'm like, oh, I don't like this console, but this controller, this feedback is delicious.
Yeah, they've got some great technology for like really experimenting in a cool way. I mean, you see that in like Astrobot and stuff, which is an indie, obviously, but that just really showcases the range of stuff. And there are some indies that have really taken that in stride. And those are some of the best games on PS5 because of it. Whereas if you get these big budget ports and stuff, sometimes they'll be like, they'll use the DualSense, but they won't use it much. Because why bother, I guess, if it's on other stuff. I mean, there's good stuff out there, but yeah, like some of the indies are the ones that kind of have the most fun with it.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's what indie gaming is all about.
All about, baby. Experimentation, creativity, quirky.
That's every game that is indie and on PlayStation.
We literally have listed every single one.
Oh, also I played Animal Well this year. It was good.
Oh, yeah. Did you play that on PlayStation or was that?
Yeah, I played it on PlayStation.
How was it on PS? It's a beautiful game. I can imagine it looking so good on the big screen.
Yeah, it looked cool. I did hit a glitch, but it was fine. I started again.
Oh, you did? Oh, did you have to restart the game?
Yeah, the kangaroo was meant to drop something, and then it bugged and disappeared. But it's probably fixed. I don't want to grumble about it. I still finished it.
Animal is good though.
I restarted it and I finished it in the same day. So
you restarted and finished it in the same day? Yeah,
that's just what I do as a
gamer. The first ending though.
Probably. Yeah, I did get the other one, I think, but I had to look up a guide.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was quite close to the end, but then when you're replaying it, it's actually not too bad because you know all the secrets are.
Yes, that's
so you can actually get through it quite quick. It was kind of almost fun to replay it a bit, so thank you for the glitch.
Thanks, Billy Basso, for that. for the glitch.
Other people encountered it as well, so it wasn't just me. I wasn't being silly.
Donkey.
It's a cool game. But yeah, Balatro is my pick of the year.
Hell yeah.
But it's been a cool year for indies.
It has.
Last year was very cool too. That was like a weird year in how good everything was. So
that's what like we talk about on the podcast a lot, is like this year has felt weird for AAA, but I feel like indies, they're not still knocking out the park. This year's been great for indie games. I feel like I'm having a great time. Right, okay, let's go. Do you have anything final about indies and PlayStation to say before we dive into your hyperfixation?
No, but my hyperfixation is related to the PlayStation.
Well, let's get into it then. What is your hyperfixation, Oscar?
I have completed, while going through the process in which I lost and got a new job, which made me... Are
we getting real on the podcast? Are we getting real?
I'm not sure what I could even say about that process, so let's not get into it, but I have a job. I've had a job the whole time. I completed my jackathon.
I'm sorry?
My jackathon.
Please quickly explain that.
Where I replayed the entire Jak and Daxter series.
Oh, okay.
My jackathon.
Yeah, jackathon, of course. How could I not make that connection?
So that is, 6 games.
Oh my God, Oscar.
4 PS2 games, 2 PSP games, Wait, no, that is 6. Yeah, 4 PS2 games. 2 PSP games, all of them available on the PlayStation 5.
Oh, lovely. And you played them all on the PlayStation 5, or did you go back to each console?
I did play them all, because I've already platinumed some of them on other consoles, so I was like, let's get the new trophy set. No, I'm not really a trophy chaser, but the first Jak and Daxter game, I don't know, how familiar are you with?
0. Oh, I know what they look like. Isn't one a ferret or something?
Well, he's an Ottsel, which is a fictional cross between a weasel and an otter.
Oh, okay, so I wasn't far off. Hold on, Jax and Dex. And isn't one like, doesn't he have like goggles and yellow hair?
Yeah, so yes, it's Naughty Dog, they went from, I'm not going to make this take age. I swear to God. Naughty Dog did Crash Bandicoot, right? And then they were like, right. Let's get in this PS2 thing, Sony. Let's collab and make something cool that isn't Crash Bandicoot, because we don't own that.
Yes.
So they made Jak and Daxter, which is a quote-unquote open world platformer with no load screens, which means that there are some long hallways.
No, I was going to say no load screens.
But it does have a cool effect. And it's like a day-night cycle and stuff. It's all it does feel quite genuinely open and different, with some really quite good platforming mechanics. You're doing like double jumps and little spins to extend it and stuff like that. It's a collectathon, so it does feel good to get that platinum, collecting all the bits and bobs. Then they made Jak 2 a GTA 3 clone.
A what?
A GTA 3 clone.
Oh my God.
It's not quite a clone, but the inspiration is quite clear. You have like a mini map with mission givers, and it's set in a sci-fi world now instead of a fantasy world.
Oh my God, so they literally were just... That sounds like nothing like...
They get flung into the future or something. Yeah, Jak gets... Well, so he doesn't speak in the first game. He gets a voice after being tortured for like 2 years or something.
Oscar, stop! This is not real.
And he gets guns in this one. I'm not joking. And he's got like a goatee. He looks like he should be in a band of that era. He's got like a goatee. And like the first words he says is like, I'm going to kill Praxis, who is like the ruler of the city. And he can turn into Dark Jak now. And he's got guns. He's got a shotgun. He's got like a rifle. But he can still do his punches and spins.
Oh, thank God.
And he gets a hoverboard. And that's fun.
Wow, yeah.
Then in Jak 3, he gets exiled. And now it's Mad Max a bit. Jak 2 has some horrible checkpointing. Just like the GTA game, so...
Oh, wow, so that was another inspiration.
God, that game was brutal to get through. I forgot how hard some bits were in that. Jak 3 gets more generous again, and it kind of scales back some of the edginess. You got light Jak powers. He gets angel wings. You would like it. He's got like goatee and stuff.
What do you mean I would like it?
It's fun in its edginess.
Yes.
In 2 and 3, Daxter gets really horny.
Okay, this is not a game.
He's making some off-color comments.
You are making this shit up. I swear. What is also convincing me to play this series as well?
It's pretty good. You get all 4 of the PS2 ones in a bundle, I think. So after Jak 3, they concluded their little trilogy. And they, as with Crash Bandicoot, they ended with a racing game, Jak X Combat Racing.
God.
Which I have also finished. That I did 100% clear this game. Well, not 100%. I didn't get everything. But I finished it. It's pretty hard, actually. It's got like someone from Queens of the Stone Age doing the music or something.
What? Okay,
it's got licensed music in it, and like quite a lot of like well-known musicians collabed on the soundtrack.
Okay,
for original songs. It's tuned a little hard, but when you get used to it, the rhythm of like these like offensive weapons and these defensive weapons is pretty cool. It has some bizarre story about how they all get poisoned, and then they have to like posthumously race on behalf of this gang lord to get the antidote. In Jak X, I feel like they kind of hit a nice kind of middle ground where it's still quite edgy, but it knows what it's doing.
I'm looking at the cover for this game, and it is insane. It's him in the car. There's 2 machine guns on the front of this racing car. Flames, and there's a car exploding in the background.
Yeah, well, they said combat racing.
Of course.
The intro movie literally has a song from like Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf, I think.
Wow.
I cannot remember which one, but I think it's the first track on the album.
Mm-hmm,
Don't know if you have that.
No.
I don't know if you're a Queens of the Stone Age fan.
Right, okay. And then what was after the racing game? No, Oscar.
Okay. You know, like
you?
Oh yeah, of course I like Queens of the Stone Age. Who doesn't? It's primal.
I mean,
everyone does. No, I played Guitar Hero 3 and 1.
Oh,
I think they're on all the Guitar Hero soundtracks.
Yeah, I feel like that's the only one I know is the Guitar Hero 3 one.
Yeah,
and even then, I don't know which
taste.
song. Yeah.
I don't think this song was on that one, but the intro movie has Queens of the Stone Age. It's that kind of game. Then I played Daxter, which I think released maybe before Jack X, but this is just the order I played. Okay. Which is a spin-off with Daxter he's up to japes. It's actually a surprisingly nice middle ground. Not Naughty Dog developed this one. It's like a nice middle ground between the kind of goofier stuff of the first game and the second one, which is it's set between the two, so it's actually quite well pitched. He's like a bug exterminator because he's tiny and he's like fighting these like evil bugs.
Okay, the CVs of these two is quite frankly insane. Like the amount of like side gigs and other shit they've been doing.
When he had to do so, it literally ties into what he was doing in like the 2 years when Jack was being tortured. It goes from that moment up to you played the rescue.
Why was he not saving the other guy? Why was he
because he didn't know where he was.
So this is addressed bugs?
In Daxter. This is addressed in Daxter. And then there was Jack and Daxter: The Lost Frontier, which I'm sad to report is a bad game.
Oh no!
So it ended on a low. This was not developed by Naughty Dog either. I think they originally were meant to, and they moved on to Uncharted instead. For some reason, there are sky pirates, and Jack loses the goatee. Is a different voice actor now.
No goatee? They had no chance.
He's a bit more of he's still got some edge, but he's a bit more of a goody two shoes now. And all of the like ship combat, because for some reason there's like flying ships and stuff, like sky pirates and stuff.
Okay, which is cool.
Which isn't part of the world before this. For some reason that is happening, and it plays like a bit of a bad Ratchet and Clank game, which is weird because that was always the big competing series, and I like Ratchet and Clank. I think the devs who got pulled in to work on it worked on some of the Ratchet spin-offs, so that's probably why. Disappointing end. I never played that one actually until now. So
what was it like revisiting all of these games of your past?
It had its ups and downs, but I'm glad I did it.
Did you platinum all of them?
No, God, no.
Again?
No, Platinum Jack 2 and Jack 3 involves collecting an absurd amount of, I think, sometimes missable collectibles. Okay. You don't want to do that.
No. Okay.
Jack 1, I platinumed again. Not the others.
My God. And so how many hours did it take you to play all of them? Like,
I did Jack 1 in a day.
Oh, one day, the gamer, ultimate gamer, Oscar Taylor Kent.
It was a long day. Yeah, no, they're all quite short, really, especially if you don't collect all the stuff in 2 and 3. Jack X took a while because there's a lot of races, and it's just kind of harder to, like, lock in.
This is so fucking funny.
So not as long as you think. They're short games. I like a short game.
Yeah, short games are good. Short game supremacy.
It's nice to revisit a short game as well, because you can't revisit a long game. Well, you can, but you're not gonna.
Oh, God. And goatee supremacy. You know what?
He's going to kill Praxis.
When they shaved his goatee, they should have known. When the art department came back with, like, we've cut his goatee off.
They didn't know what audience they were targeting anymore. They needed to make it edgier, if anything. Put some filth on that PSP.
They needed to make it more edgy, more grime.
Especially because on the PSP, you don't have to worry about mom and dad walking in.
Oh, yeah, that little screen.
That's just between you and the PSP.
All those horrible comments. What was it? The horny one? Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, Daxter's a bit much, but he has a heart of gold. He doesn't have a heart of gold. He's a filthy animal. Still, I love the series. It does make me pine for the PS, the PS2 era of innovation and having all of these. And, it was edgy, but it was aimed at still teens and stuff rather than like loads of mature games. Like the era where you had like Ratchet coming out, Jack coming out, Sly coming out, just good old fun.
Yeah.
But that's where indies come in, and you can learn more about them on the Indieventure podcast.
Oh, Oscar. Thank you so much for joining me on this very, very short bonus episode. At this point, it's
extremely short, yeah.
Extremely short, super short episode. And thank you for listening to Indieventure. Love you so much. You're amazing.
Well, thanks for having me. You can find me at on the websites, Mr. Oscar TK, MR Oscar TK. And on GamesRadar, where I'm now games editor.
Yes, I love how I was going to ask you to plug your shit, but you dove straight in there. You were like,
if you need a separate sound file for that, I'll send it. It's got like some music in the background.
Oh, actually, when I do your intro, potentially, sometimes we have music under the bottom. What soundtrack? Should I take it from Jack and Daxter? Which one? Imagine like a wrestling theme. Like you're walking into the ring. What do you want playing? What video game soundtrack do you want playing?
If you're able to use some of the Penny Big Breakaway sound, I love that.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Okay.
It depends if you can get the rights for Queens of the Stone Age. You think I'm worth $1, but I feel like a millionaire. Which is the song on the intro for Jack X.
You know what?
You will get
I'll
arrested.
work some magic. See, maybe I can just sing it.
The Queen of the Stone Age will sentence you.
Maybe I'll be the Queen of the Stone Age.
Maybe we were all the Queen of the Stone Age the whole time.
You know what? That's something to think about.
Indieventure is a video games podcast created, produced, hosted, and edited by Rachel Watts, Rebecca Jones, and me, Liam Richardson. For more information, including a list of every game we mentioned in this episode, make sure to check out our website, indieventurepodcast.co.uk. You can get in touch by sending your questions, comments, and feedback to contact@indieventurepodcast.co.uk. You can support the show by rating us 5 stars and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or your preferred podcast provider of choice. Some of the games we talk about on the show may have been provided to us for free for review consideration. Our intro music and stings were composed for us by Ollie Newbury. Check the episode description to hear more of his excellent tunes. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks for another episode of Indieventure. Bye for now.